The gospel for today's Mass, Wednesday of Easter week, is the road to Emmaus from Luke chapter 24. I think we're all familiar with it in a very endearing way. These two disciples are walking to Emmaus on Easter Sunday, completely shattered because of Jesus' death. Their hopes and dreams are gone. This mysterious stranger appears and walks with them and explains to them the whole meaning of the scriptures, looking at that narrative through the lens of the Paschal mystery, the death and resurrection of Christ. And at the end, they sit down to a meal. Jesus, who is the stranger, of course, performs the characteristic Eucharistic gesture, breaks the bread. At that moment, their eyes are open. They recognize him. He vanishes, and they return to Jerusalem to proclaim their experience of the resurrection. One way to look at this narrative is through the lens of the Eucharist. You can clearly see that the whole walk to Emmaus is the liturgy of the Word, where Jesus proclaims the gospel to them. And then they sit down and celebrate, in a sense, the liturgy of the Eucharist. And the beauty of that is Jesus disappears in his physical form, his bodily form, and essentially, theologically, is saying, no longer look for me in this form, because I will now be present in the Eucharistic bread. The other compelling thing to me about this narrative is that the disciples don't spend the night. They don't finish their meal. Hopefully they paid the bill. But they immediately spend the whole night going back the entire way that they came, because they are so transformed by their experience of the risen Christ that they immediately want to go back and proclaim to their companions of their experience. That urgency, that imperative, is what captures our hearts when we embrace the bold initiative of evangelization. That we want every person that we know, that we come into contact with, to have an experience of the risen Christ through our experience, through our witness. So in these weeks and days of Easter, we ask the Lord to stir that spirit within us, that we may think of bold, new, and imaginative ways that we can proclaim the good news that Jesus Christ indeed has been raised from the dead to those around us, and that it makes a difference in how we believe, what we say, how we think, what we value, what we do. On a blessed Easter season, especially blessed octave of Easter to all of you this week.